Episode 143, weighing in with Travis Hartman. I am B Money, the producer. That over there is the talent weekend Trav. We're going to jump right in weekend Trav. Jake Paul, knockout victory, round one here in Orlando, Florida, against some guy that's a professional boxer. But you can't argue it. I mean, it's set up. It looked good. Nice uppercut. Took the guy out. Knockout. First round within what, 2 minutes?
Yeah, he set it up, man. He actually did. A right uppercut is very hard to land, and
Yeah.
it's surprising that it landed, but he did set it up with a jab, man, and he put it on point. He brought the one, which is the jab, and he slipped that right uppercut in between. It was a legit shot.
It was.
He did well. Listen, he fought a guy who's a real boxer. I'm putting air quotes for Spotify listeners.
Yeah, that's
real
okay.
boxer, 10-1. So the average person is going to look at that and be like, oh my gosh, Jake Paul knocked out a real boxer. He did, though. You can't take it from him because this guy was more legit, technically, than Jake. So it is what it is. I think the cool part was that they're starting to show up for this guy. He fought in Orlando, and I know people probably were laughing at him because he didn't even fight at the Amway Center. He fought at Crib Royale, which only held just under 4,200 people. But guess what? They broke the all-time Orlando live gate record, which was previously held by a great Miguel Cotto in 2013, who had 11,900 people at the Amway Center and did about 560, I believe it was, $560,000 worth. It's being reported that Jake Paul has done over 600,000 live gates with just under 4,200 people, 1/3 of the amount of people that they had at Amway Center. Pretty cool.
We will not confirm nor deny, but we have sources, folks, that tell us this, and sources that are legitimate when it comes to these numbers. So Orlando record set on Boxing Gate at the Caribe Royale. So kudos number one to Box Lab and as well as Caribe Royale for putting on a great event. If you saw any of the video, it was packed in that place. You know, we were there for Amanda Serrano 2 months prior, and it was packed, but this was even more packed. So overall, interesting. And for the haters out there, listen, we've all been a little haters of Jake Paul, this and that, whatever. That knockout was legit. It was not fake. There's every angle you could look at. It was a legit right uppercut. It grazed him perfectly where it needed to, and the guy was night, and he probably couldn't go back to his cab shift after the fight. He couldn't drive his taxi.
You know that you're correct. I believe 100% what you said, that it was legit, but you're already hearing TikTokers. I have a very prominent TikToker that asked me and said, Trav, was that legit? That didn't look legit. I was like, bro, the guy fell and didn't brace himself, and his head slammed into the canvas. It was legit as it come. That was a real legit knockout. That was a real legit result. And Jake Paul knocked this kid out. Like, as much as people want to hate him, I've said it from the beginning, B Money. We've lost followers in the beginning because I said, listen, Jake Paul is not as bad as you think he is, and he's not as good as his nut huggers think he is either. He's in between, and that's all I've ever said. He takes boxing.
Because what's his record now? It's what? What is he?
I think 9? He's 8-1 now.
8-1. I mean, so yeah. What do you expect? He's not going to be. I know he keeps throwing Canelo's name out eventually, and who knows?
You know why he says that, though?
Money, money, money. It gets all the press. I get that. Maybe one day, who knows? An exhibition one day down the road, like 5 years from now. But you know, he's 8-1. What do you guys want? He's fighting a guy that's 10-0. That's when you go to any
10
show.
10-1.
10-1 now.
No, 10-2 now. He was 10-1 going in.
When you go to any show, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see matched guys like that matched up, and that's what you should see. So, you know, next guy he fights, it probably shouldn't be another household name either. It should be another boxer that has a very similar record, and we'll see what happens, right?
Listen, everybody was complaining about him fighting these old washed-up UFC fighters, but in my opinion, I thought they were giving him a better fight than these boxers. He's building his career different than a boxer, but most boxers fight worse guys than that 10-1 guy earlier in their career.
That is true.
And we've said that as on the podcast. I've said it many times early on. I was like, listen, how he's building his career is literally no different than how any other legit Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, all those guys, they're early on in their career, I mean, except Jake Paul was fighting former combat world champions in the UFC guys. Yeah. They were retired out of UFC.
You know what it is, though.
They're more exciting.
You know what it is. It's all the other stuff. That's what you're going to get the trolls.
Oh
That's
yeah,
when you're going to get all the people complaining because that's the world we live in now, Weekend Trav. There's a platform for everybody, just like there's a platform for us in order to get out there and just verbal diarrhea about anything. That's what we do on a weekly basis, verbal diarrhea.
100%.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know, I watched the Jake Paul fight, but I was not here. I was in Texas. Even though me and B Money live in Orlando, we opted to not go to the Jake Paul. But I also got a little battle wound. I was on a hunting
Well, you
trip.
know what? You know what? That's because when Weekend Trav opens up his trap, B Money has to shut it. I'm just kidding. I had nothing to
What?
do with that. I had
Wait,
nothing to
what?
do with that. I had
Oh,
nothing to do with that. I had
oh,
nothing to do
listen,
with it.
guys, I'm sorry. I spoke back, and the producer
Yeah.
put the whip down and said no.
Backhand.
Yeah, whatever. But I did get a little wound. I was in Texas watching the fight. It is what it is. That's why I'm wearing a band-aid. It's not a fashion statement. I wish I didn't have to wear it, but it's really gross right underneath there.
Yeah.
So regardless, Jake Paul fight was awesome. The undercard was pretty exciting. There was possible knockout of the year candidacy.
Yeah.
Lorenzo
Yeah.
Medina had a great fight where he got knocked down early, came back, stopped the
Yeah.
guy.
But you know that knock that he looked like a slip to me, dude. I don't know. Did you think that was a knockdown earlier
Oh,
against
against
him?
Medina.
Yeah. And what was it, like first or second round? I don't know. It looked like he just kind of slipped over his own, tripped over his shoe.
Yeah, I mean, there's just when a punch is thrown and landed, and if you fall, it doesn't matter. Even if you
Yeah.
slipped, a punch landed, and they say it came from that. So it is what it is.
I guess
But
so.
he finished the guy.
Yep.
Joshua Temple's pretty legit, to be fair, too. That's an impressive win by Medina because Temple's not bad. He's from St. Louis, Missouri, Holland, Missouri. But
He
Temple's
needed,
not bad.
yeah, but Temple needed to be getting the matching socks with matching shoes because he's sporting them Nike socks and them Adidas shoes. That didn't look good.
he was pretending. And I don't know B Money. Do you remember? I know this is terrible that I don't know this right now, but the guy that got a legit knockout, it was a left hook and just dropped the guy.
Yeah.
I
Sent you
forgot
that.
his
I sent you
name,
that.
but that is a possible knockout of the year candidate. It was so good. And then to be fair, Jake Paul's man was a legit knockout too. So and then Elijah Flores, I heard, fought amazing. I didn't get to see his fight, but he fought amazing. He boxed amazing, fought a tough Mexican contender. And Elijah Flores won, Lorenzo Medina won. And then obviously Jake Paul. Oh, also, did you also see our girl won a world title?
Yeah. Well, let's get to her
Francon
in a second.
Desert Cruz.
Let's
That was
get
a
to her
rough
in a
fight to
second.
watch, but
Well,
she
yeah.
won.
Yeah. Well,
It was
let's
a
not get
legit win too.
it was, but
yeah,
it was tough to watch. So the other
very.
knockout you were talking about, Jonas Tellez.
Jonas Tellez. Gosh dang it. I can't believe I didn't know that. Yes.
Yep, that was dirty. The guy he knocked out. I mean, you saw blood. He fell backwards through the ropes. He's stiff as a board. You got blood streaming down his face. It looks like he's gargling on his spit. That was a good one. That was tough. That was tough.
That was rough. That was rough. But that's a knockout of the year candidate for sure.
Absolutely. So the card in general. I mean, it was quick because there were a lot of knockouts. There's a lot of quick fights other than the women's fight. Went the distance, I believe. So, and it was a snooze fest. But that is what it is. So Jake Paul victorious knockout first round. In what is now the record-setting Live Gate Orlando boxing event ever in history at the Crib Royale. Box Lab Promotions putting that on there, and it was on DAZN for those that were tuning in. Not too shabby, fellas. Not too shabby. Good job out there.
Box Lab keeps delivering. And then the week before, they had fights on DAZN at Crib Royale. Literally 1 week before for the WBA KO for Drugs. Our really good friend who actually on the podcast as well, Giovanni Estella, improved his impressive record with an impressive first round knockout. I can't emphasize impressive enough because they've been saying Giovanni can't punch. Well, guess what? His last 2 fights have been first round KOs. So Giovanni Estella, congratulations. And I heard along the rumor mill, he might have a big announcement coming very soon. So stay tuned. And remember, you heard it here first on Weighing In with Travis Hartman. Giovanni Estella, 14-0, might possibly have some huge news. Who knows? Who knows? I'm neither confirming nor denying that I know something.
So confirming he probably knows something. And it's big. So we'll leave it at that. Weekend Trav. Let's go ahead and switch gears. So kudos everyone in the Orlando fight game and expanding beyond that, which, by the way, February 2nd, I believe Edgar Berlanga is fighting in Orlando. So, the local Puerto Rican crowd's going to come out in full effect for that. We might have another live gate that's up there as well. Top
Right.
5 probably, Orlando.
Right.
But let's go to shift gears. We have plenty of time to talk about that. This is kind of the I want to call it the end of the year episode, but this is kind of the pre-Christmas show.
Yep.
But there's a pre-Christmas boxing show to be paying attention to, and I've made fun of it, Weekend Trav. I've mentioned this, and I've called it the heavyweight extravaganza and stupid things like that, because honestly, it's a bunch of heavyweights in the main and co-main event that we want them to fight each other, but they're not. They're fighting other guys. But when you look at the card top to bottom, it's like, actually, this is set up pretty solid from the start. I think, in all honesty, the main fight on this whole card that I'm looking at, I'm talking December 23rd. Well, the card, the fight on really not Day of Reckoning is what it's called. Day of Reckoning, December 23rd.
Yep.
I'm actually not looking forward to the main event, which is Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallen. Everything else looks fantastic on this thing.
This snuck up on you, didn't it, B-Money?
Well, it's just because anything nowadays where it's Anthony Joshua as a main event, I have to laugh at it, because this guy, I'm over him. I'm over this. Listen, he made a fool of himself, post Usyk, when he's in the ring, he's throwing the belts. He just wasn't there. The clarity of mind wasn't there. And his handlers allowing him to do that was just ridiculous. And you're going to have Eddie Hearn not even making excuses, but he's going to clear the path for him and set up all the PR stuff. So he's the one falling on all the landmines for Anthony Joshua. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of him. And I don't think he has the talent overall. So for me, the card's interesting. And then when it's main event time with him, turn it off. Probably about time to turn it off.
That's the thing. You have that right to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good card. I think it's heating up even more because there's a guy fighting on that card, Gerald Big Baby Miller.
Yeah.
Who was originally supposed to fight Anthony Joshua way back in the day when Andy Ruiz filled in and upset him. So Big Baby tested positive for steroids, so got kicked out of that fight. But Big Baby is going in on Anthony Joshua the whole time they're there. In the press conference, they just had a little spat walking through like the hallway. It's turning out to be a super, super fun card, because I do think that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder probably will fight if they both win after this. I think we'll see it in the new year. I do. I'm pretty confident in that. And that's just a hunch. I don't know anything. That's a hunch.
No, you would think, but it's interesting. So I think Deontay Wilder has a harder fight of the both when it comes to the main event.
He does.
You're looking at him taking on Joseph Parker. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But look at the rest of the card we can drive. We got Dimitri Bival's on this thing. Okay, so we know what he's capable of. Daniel Dubois on it, which that's another name. But then you have I've never been able to pronounce this guy's name, but he's basically ranked like the top, if not one of the top cruiserweights in the world, right? Jai Opechai. I can't pronounce his name. So you got a lot going on here, Weekend Trav. It's an interesting card. I'll say that, top to bottom. And this might help you out when it comes to this whole Jordan year situation of 23, rounding out the year overall. Rounding out the year.
I said it at the beginning of the year. Like I said it, I felt it, and I think it's pretty close.
Listen, this is on December 23rd. Okay, so we could be on DAZN, so we could be unwrapping a pretty solid boxing Christmas present, or it could be a dud. You never know. You really never know. What worst case scenario we can try is that if all this stuff just kind of goes the distance and it's boring, there's that's the risk, and I think you're going to get that in the main event. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, well, hopefully all of the fun fireworks have already happened and people don't care about the main event, because Otto Wallen is an awkward fighter. He gave Tyson Fury a lot of heck. So who knows what's going to happen? I think it's we don't normally get a year ender like that in December 23rd of the year. So I think it's kind of a cool culmination. And you said that in the beginning, you were like, yeah, we got nothing in December though, Trav. Well, we had Devin Haney that just fought. We also have this fight coming up. We had Jake Paul fight. Okay. We had a locals fight here.
This is something we didn't talk. This is something we didn't talk pre-production at all. We didn't talk Devin Haney, and we haven't mentioned anything post-fight with him. He put on a boxing clinic in his fight. Okay, I will give him that. But do you want to pay to watch that?
Well, you're asking the wrong guy because
do you
I
want,
liked it.
we've seen Devin Haney fight several times. Are you
Yes.
willing to put forth your pay-per-view money to watch him fight as he always fights, time and time again?
Yes, but only if it's one of the top guys like Teofimo Lopez, Shakir Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, then 100% yes.
We're
but
talking
if he's headlining the card with a tune-up, no.
So I saw
probably not.
Earlier today. I sat and thought about the whole potential of Tank Davis and him fighting. Honestly, I don't think that would be a good fight. I think Devin Haney just kind of does what he does with him, and Tank can't get to him. I think it would be a boring distance or go with the distance fight, and it's not what the fans would expect, which is great boxing. Don't get me wrong. That's great boxing by Devin Haney, great pugilism, but overall, not an exciting, interesting paper. You will pay for it, but is it worth it? That's my point. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
I mean, that one, I mean, you're probably correct. However, I think that one could have fireworks because Gervonta can punch. So I think you could possibly see somewhere where like Devin Haney's outboxing him, but gets caught and gets dropped, but then gets back up. That's the only how that fight could be exciting, but it's possible because Gervonta does hit hard.
It's always possible, but I just don't think he can get in.
I would see it though. I think that's the fight that has to happen though.
Those are the two best. Yeah, I would be willing to see it, but overall, I just listen. It's a style thing. I don't like his style. It's just, to me, it's boring. It's great boxing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discredit that part. I think it's excellent skill level. It's just his fight style is boring. It's boring to me. Didn't it only get like 50,000 buys or something crazy like that?
I can't remember what the official number was, but numbers have been down for everything in that regard. But listen, oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to say there. I forgot what I was going to say. Devin Haney.
Livegate did great. You know, the live ticket, the live card was great. Sorry, the live game was great.
A lot of illegal streams are messing up the pay-per-views now, which I understand that is happening. But what I was going to say is I said this on the podcast a couple of years ago when the 135-pound division was packed full of everybody. Teofimo, Devin Haney, Shakir, Gervonta, Kambosos, Lomachenko. I said this, and I stand by it because of his fighting style. I still believe Devin Haney has the style to run that division, all of them.
I agree.
And to keep it on top. If he does lose, I see him avenging the loss. I think he has the ability, the smarts, and the style, like a Mayweather, kind of a boring style for most.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Beat everybody.
That's what I was getting at. And don't get me wrong, I think history will be more of a pleasant to Devin Haney than current, right? Because even when Mayweather in his prime, everyone complained, boring.
Yep, he rounds, he does
but he outboxed. That's all he did. He just outboxed. I think we're seeing the same thing here. I'm not trying to compare the two like directly, but it's like shades of it, right? It feels very similar.
Early on,
but I just one thing I can't get over with him is his persona and his attitude and his demeanor. I don't know. He just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. That's me.
You just like to get rubbed. Stop it.
No, well, I'm talking more like he promotes his faith and all that, and great, good for him and his belief structure, whatever. That's his own deal. But then on the other side, he's cursing the F word, N word, all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Does Allah approve of that? Your guy? I don't know if he's really approving of the way you act improperly.
You and I both know that like we both are big believers too, but we'll drop some F bombs.
Well, yeah, but it's like, hey, buddy, what's your opinion on them tunnels in Gaza, buddy? We haven't heard about that yet. I want to kind of curious, Devin Haney.
You see a lot of people staying away from that now.
Yeah. Anyway, so Devin Haney, yes, victorious. Boxing clinic. So now we have, between the Shakur Stevenson fight and that fight, we have two of the worst, boxing strike totals that we've seen in fights in history. Basically back to back.
Yep.
Super exciting weekend, Trav. Thanks for that December.
Hey, hopefully this next one definitely finishes. Finishes the year out like pretty good. Yeah, dude, I think it's been a great year. I think that Orlando, Florida has been a great year for boxing. I think it's probably one of the best Orlando, Florida's ever seen, top to bottom. Yep. I really do, because of the box lab guys. but I don't want to take any credit away from. There's some other promoters here that too are doing some things, like Ryan Main's promoter, Boxlight. There's some other people that are trying as well. Undisputed has done some shows, so I'm not taking away from them at all. But what I am saying though is BoxLab has by far exceeded all expectations, even though we said it from the beginning that I thought BoxLab was going to take these guys places here in Orlando, and they've delivered now twice. In this year alone, with Amanda Serrano and Jake Paul, sellouts, live gates through the roof. It's been amazing, B Money.
So anyways, we pay attention. December 23rd. I know we kind of glanced over December 23rd, which is just in a few days. That is the Day of Reckoning. It's coming from Saudi Arabia. I don't know what time it starts, but you can find that on DAZN. So that'll be a good one. And then we still have to put together our end of the year extravaganza of a show where we give our knockout of the year, fighter of the year, all blah 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 blah. We'll get to that probably post Christmas. We'll be doing that. So we'll take a little time off here over the holidays this weekend. But we can travel. Let's go ahead and wrap up episode 143. Weighing in with Travis Hartman. Appreciate your time, everybody. If you've yet to subscribe, please do so below. Give us a thumb up. Give us some feedback. Show me where I'm wrong and what I have to say about Devin Haney. Hate on me all day long, make fun of Weekend Trav and his nose, his issue right there, whatever. I know what he did. But we're not going to bring that up.
We don't need any more haters.
With that being said, I'm going to end it right here. That over there is the talent, Weekend Trav.
That there is B Money, aka producer, aka the enforcer. I have proof. God bless.
God bless.